Alright, hello everyone. Alex the Historian here. Let me see here. Get onto YouTube. My channel. Afternoon tea. Watch the ad. How is everybody doing today? My water is currently boiling. I have to pre-warm the vessel here, so... Alright, so just hang on a second. I'll say hello to everybody in just a second. Alright. Alright. Got to cap that out. Half of this out. Just a second. Gotta adjust the flame. No, that's fine. It can stay the way it is. Alright. Let's see here. Turn down my phone volume. Come on. Alright. Alright, let's see who is here. Hello, Thomas. Hello, the Empire of Waterloo. Hello, Caden. Hello, Ivan. I'm good too, Caden. Hello, Matthew. Hello, Harrison. Oh wow, so hello, Matthew Vega, and hello, Matthew Conway. Hello, Coronia Polk. Sorry. Evan Scott says, "Hi, Alex. Can't wait for the Queen Mary to open again." Me too. I think it'll be probably around Halloween. And hello, Lori Carlson. So I pre-warm the china in 2 stages. First with hot tap water, and then I dump out half of the tap water, and then top it off with boiling water, and then finally I'll empty all that out, and then I'll just fill these things with like boiling water. So I think that's hot enough. I'm going to go ahead and empty these out, fill them with boiling water, and then I can start brewing the tea. So I'll be right back again. Okay. So this can get dumped out. Open that up. I can dump this out. Next comes the tea infuser. It's already got my tea in there. Go ahead. Well, yeah, that's fine. That goes in there. Come on. Alright. What time is it? That says 05. Then 4:10. Or 4:11 actually, because it just turned to 06. Alright. I can move the teapot over here so it's out of my way. Alright, so the teacup is pre-warming with boiling water. The teapot has the boiling water and the tea in it. Now what I have here is, again, my recent favorite. This is a cucumber tea sandwich. It's made with slices of cucumber, and then the bread is coated with a mixture of cream cheese, mayonnaise, and then it's seasoned with fresh dill, and then there's powdered garlic and a little bit of salt. It's a really simple sandwich, but it is so delicious. I like it more than the egg sandwich. So I've been making these as of late. And then on this plate here, I have chocolate-covered digestives. It's a type of tea biscuit that is often consumed in the UK. And then right next to it is Scottish shortbread, which tastes a lot like the shortbread cookies that you might get in like a metal tin. They're really good, and they go very well with tea. So, alright, stove is off, everything's cooling. I'm going to empty this hot thing of water out, because once I need to add something, there, empty. And again, the tea today, again, is breakfast tea, because I currently don't have the money to get other kinds of tea, but I will look into it in the future. So, okay, let's see here. Matthew Conway says, looks like we're both having tea. Me being southern, mine is sweet. Yeah, my mom, her family was from the South. They're all from Alabama, so my mom was used to having sweet tea all the time. I never did like it. Believe it or not, this English breakfast tea was the very first tea I've ever actually liked. I'm generally not a tea person. I do like some Japanese green tea sometimes if I'm really in the mood for it, but other than that, the first time I ever had English breakfast tea, I was kind of like, wow, this is almost like a lighter version of coffee, kind of. So I was kind of like, okay, I can drink this like it's a cup of coffee with some cream and sugar. So that's kind of how I got into tea. So, Haley says, did you hear that Disney is planning on making communities for rich people? Yes, I heard about that. The first one being in Palm Springs. I was reading an article last night about it. I was like, geez. They already have a community for rich people, technically. Not even Celebration, Florida. There's a place in Walt Disney World for like the super rich. It's a small neighborhood with mansions. And there's nothing Disney about that neighborhood though, but supposedly these communities like they're building in Palm Springs will be more Disney, is from what I read. Good afternoon, Specky. Restore the Queen says, hi Alex, hello. I'm guessing that's QMI, right? Because it says Restore the Queen, and I think I see the old logo. Hard to say. Caden says, what are your thoughts on the new Chip and Dale movie? I haven't heard of it. This is news to me. Coronia Polk says, you look very handsome. Thank you. Jeffrey Charles says, hi Alex. Hello, Jeffrey. Ivan Workman says, does QMI have any major funds or fundraising to help the Queen Mary, or are they mainly a historical advocacy organization? They are a fundraising organization. They do have funds currently. People have been donating for 10 years or so. So they already have funds ready for the restoration of the Queen Mary, and they're still getting donations from them. And then, of course, they have connections with people who would like to donate large sums of money. All we're waiting on is the city of Long Beach basically telling us what we can help them with. Right now, we're currently trying to assist with the 2 lifeboats that are basically lifeboats 1 and 2 that are on the forward superstructure of the Queen Mary. Those will stay in place. They will stay on the ship. Those are the ones that QMI wants to try to help to restore, so that way people who visit the ship can see fully restored lifeboats sitting on their davits, and they'll be taken care of. That's the hope here. So that's what we're looking forward to. The Empire of Waterloo says, are the sandwiches just like the ones on the ship? I tried. It's hard to get a recipe from the ships. That's the problem. I try to look at photographs and things like that. As far as I know, this is as close as I can get at the moment. Time for the tea. This is as close as I can get at the moment to a actual Cunard tea sandwich. But the idea is there, that there is a sandwich and there is, put that here, that there is a sandwich and then there is biscuits and little shortbread cookies. They also would have had lots of other desserts and things you could choose from, but I'm going to have to save that for a special occasion because I can't always be baking desserts and things to have. And frankly, I can't have too much excess all the time. I'm also trying to watch how much I eat and what I eat. Believe it or not, this is the richest meal I will have today and for the next 2 days, because I only have this every 2 days when I do these live streams. I usually don't eat stuff this rich because I try to watch what I eat. Alright, so now we grab the teapot. It's an Art Deco style tea set. And we just pour the tea. I'm pouring a little bit less this time because I did look at some old footage and I did see that they poured less tea in the cup than usual. And this is already a tiny little cup. I could fit my hand all the way around it. But I'm trying to be as accurate as possible. This is a little, it's a little sugar bowl. I got my demi-tasse spoon for it. I don't have any actual Queen Mary spoons, but they would have had spoons just like this, essentially. And a little bit less on the second spoon there. That can go there. Separate spoon for stirring. You stir back and forth to properly incorporate the sugar and not to create too much noise. And then lastly, the cream. Let's see. For a little bit more. That's better. This morning for breakfast, I made myself a cup of ginger cardamom chai tea. I make it from scratch, so I literally have the tea leaves and all the ingredients. There was more in it than just ginger and cardamom. I like to put a bunch of stuff, a little bit of cloves, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of cinnamon stick and stuff like that. And then I boil it just like a traditional Indian recipe. And I had that with my breakfast this morning. So I missed having that. I haven't had that in a couple of weeks. So that was pretty cool. All right. The 101st Dalmatian says, those tea sandwiches look divine. I might snip that recipe from you. It sounds easy to make. It's really easy to make. So I don't even have to tell you the quantities that much. Basically, if you're making one sandwich, then you need half of a cucumber. You could use a British cucumber. That might amount to a different quantity. but I use an American cucumber, which probably tastes not as good. But anyway, half of an American cucumber at least, and then I would say about 2 tablespoons to maybe 2.5 tablespoons of cream cheese, and then 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, and then you just mix that up with a pinch of garlic powder, a pinch of salt, and then you chop up some fresh dill. I probably did maybe a tablespoon of chopped dill, and then I threw that in there, mixed it up, and then you spread that on the sandwich. The cucumber you slice lengthwise in little sheets. So lengthwise in little sheets. I wouldn't do circles, because if you cut them in little circles, it'll be harder to cut the sandwich later because all the circles will want to fall out. So I cut them lengthwise in little sheets, and then I layer them onto the sandwich. Well, if the sandwich is like this, then I layer them like that onto the sandwich. And then I smush the two halves together, wrap them in plastic wrap or cellophane, whatever you call it, and then I put it in the fridge for at least an hour, because that's the trick to being able to cut the crust off the sandwiches. You have to refrigerate them so the ingredients harden. And then when you're ready to serve them, you take it out and then you just chop the crusts off and cut them in half. If you want to do it the true British way, you don't cut them into triangles, you cut them into squares. So that is, not that it ultimately really matters, but it's traditional to cut them into squares. So that's how I did it. It's super simple. I think I get it done in, like, with all the chopping and stuff, less than 10 minutes. I throw it in the refrigerator for an hour, and then I bring it out and just chop off the crusts, and that's how I do it. I eat the crusts, actually. I don't throw them away. So, alright, so Emma Davis says, have you heard of the Halifax explosion? I know a lot more about it. I was born and raised in Halifax, after all. We also have a strong connection to Titanic as well. Yes, I have heard of the Halifax explosion. Maybe one day I'll do a video on it, but not anytime soon, I can't promise. But yeah, and also many of the Titanic survivors ended up going to Halifax. So that's pretty neat. As well as debris and things that were cleaned up from the ocean also went to Halifax, from my understanding. Matthew says, I wonder if Cunard will build any more ocean liners to serve alongside the QM2 or in the future. In terms of Cunard, I don't think they'll build another ocean liner until closer to the end of Queen Mary II's lifetime. So, let's see, if Queen Mary II went into service 2004, and it can last about 40 years at sea, so 2044 is probably closer to the time that we will actually see another ocean liner from Cunard. Unless for some reason transatlantic crossings become popular again. That would be great. If transatlantic crossings could become super popular again, just for people who want a vacation in England, or people or from people from the UK want a vacation here, that would be so cool. Casey Wagner says, hello Alex, I hope you're doing well. I'm interested in getting one of the Queen Elizabeth lifeboats from Queen Mary, and was wondering how to get one. Thank you for asking. When this live stream is over, I'm actually going to be, soon after, publishing a video informing people how they can get their hands on one of the lifeboats being taken off of the Queen Mary, which includes the Queen Elizabeth lifeboats and the Sylvania lifeboats. The city of Long Beach is working to inform the public and QMI on how the public can acquire one. So I will publish a video like that. Right now, I'm waiting till 5 p.m. because that is supposedly when the details of how to go about it will come out. Once 5 p.m. happens, I'm going to Some people from QMI are going to tell me what to say, and then I will put that into the video and publish the video as soon as I can. So look out for the video later today, probably closer to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Closer to 6 p.m. Pacific time. But there will be a video out today about it. The video is also entertaining, so for those of you who aren't looking to purchase a lifeboat, the video is very entertaining. There's information about the history and the use of the lifeboats in there. Cameron says, do you think the Queen Mary will be moved to dry dock? Eventually she will have to. The City of Long Beach and the Port Authority will likely become the new owners of the Queen Mary in the next year or so. But both the city and the Port Authority want the Queen Mary to be refurbished in such a way that she will last another 100 years. That includes having to construct either a temporary dry dock or a permanent dry dock. So either way, there will be one, and the Queen Mary will eventually be dry docked. But that is a matter for the next coming years. No more than 2 years, I think, though, because the current fixes that are happening on the ship are supposedly only able to keep the ship viable for 2 years. So within those 2 year period, within that 2 year period, they will have to make a decision on when and where the dry dock will be. Glitch says it might cost millions to send the Mary to dry dock. Oh, it will. The dry dock alone will probably cost closer to $200 million, depending on if they build a permanent one. A permanent one would be $200 million. A temporary one would probably be closer to $100 million, but nevertheless, it will cost a lot of money. And QMI, we at QMI want to be a part of the process to help raise funds for that. So maybe we will. Who will know? So hopefully, if you folks out there can help spread the word about QMI Restore the Queen. They're a nonprofit organization, the only 501c nonprofit organization who is specifically dedicated to restoring the Queen Mary and nothing else. So they are trying to help provide funding for the ship in any way that it needs for its restoration. So that's literally all they're about. Let's see. Haley says, did you hear that Disney is also planning on raising the prices on the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser? No, I didn't hear that. That's crazy. I don't know why they would. Supposedly, no one even wants to stay there. Coronia says, what brand and flavor of tea are you using? It is Twinings English Breakfast Tea. Sorry. There we go. Twinings English Breakfast Tea. It's a loose leaf tea, so I use the tea infuser. Kenneth says, afternoon, Alex. I was wondering if the Queen Mary's replica funnels need to be replaced, as I imagine they are not as well built as the originals. Actually, they are stronger than the originals, believe it or not. The replica funnels are made of aluminum, but they have a steel bracing inside. They are stronger than the originals. They've been on the ship longer than the originals. But because the outside is made of aluminum, it is corrosion resistant, basically. I think the framework that holds it up is made of stainless steel, if I have that correctly. So that also is pretty resilient. Trying to think. Because the original funnels, they're not solid like people would think. They're literally just cylinders that sit on top of the ship. And they're held in place because if without the ropes, they're called funnel stays, but without the ropes for the funnel stays that keep them upright, they actually could collapse into themselves, like flopping in. They're really not that robust. So the funnel stays not only keep them upright, but keep them expanded out in their cylindrical shape. so that way they don't collapse in on themselves. The ones on the Queen Mary don't need the funnel stays at all. The funnel stays are only there for looks. They have a interior framework that keeps them the shape they are. Matthew Conway says, what time is it where you are? It's currently 7:30 p.m. in Georgia. Well, it is the middle of tea time here in California, Oregon. I'm in Oregon. It's the middle of tea time here in Oregon, which is almost 4:30 p.m. Empire of Waterloo says, pretty interesting. The Art Deco style can be applied to dishes as well as buildings. I guess that any object can be made of Art Deco. I mean, it's Art Deco is really more of a style that is fanciful and kind of takes the person out of the time frame in which they live. It's a way to escape. So and that translates to the dishes as well. It's a British Art Deco, so it's not as fanciful as American Art Deco is. American Art Deco is very, like, I don't know the word. Over the top, I guess, would be the word. British Art Deco is very a subdued style, which I like more. Len Fitzgerald says, the true British way is into fingers. I'm guessing you mean by cutting the sandwiches? Okay. I have never seen the sandwiches cut into fingers. It's midnight here. This video made me hungry, so I went and fixed myself a midnight snack. Yeah, I always look forward to tea time because it's a way for me to have some food. Let's see. Kenaniah Williams says, when should we expect the next Queen Mary update video? Well, technically the video that's going to be published today is sort of an update video. But I suppose the next full update video, I will publish them as the information comes out. But the thing is I have to wait for information to come out and then kind of like store it together, because if I make a little like 2-minute video every week or so, no one would watch it, believe it or not. No one would watch it. Only the most diehard fans would watch it. So I do have to wait until I can gather together some, random tidbits of information and put them into an update. But there will be at least one every month, if not multiple. So hard to say when the next update will be. But as soon as we have information that I can compile together, I will put it out. But there will be one today that will tell people how they can acquire a Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, and Sylvania lifeboat. All right. I love these sandwiches. Matthew Conway says, do you think if they put the Queen Mary in a dry dock, being that's a lot of her engineering spaces have been removed, would she be able to hold up to her own weight out of the water? Oh yeah, the engineering spaces, they were gutted, but the structural support was not removed. So they removed the boilers and the engines and, 2 of the condensers and some of the turbo generators, but none of those pieces of equipment support the weight of the ship. They're just things that occupy the space and weigh the ship down. So those were removed, but not any of the structural support of the ship was removed. I know many people will argue that, they took out the watertight bulkheads beneath the waterline of the ship, and those were structural support. Well, that's kind of splitting hairs. The truth of the matter is, They did remove some bulkheads, but they didn't remove the support from the bulkheads. They just removed the sheets of steel that are in between the structural supports of the bulkheads. So while there were a lot of, I would say, dumb things done to the Queen Mary in the 1970s, thankfully that wasn't one of them. They didn't remove structural support from the ship necessarily. I think the closest thing to actual structural support that was removed was in the process of removing the funnels. They wanted to deck over every level where the funnels were. And what those needed was cross bracing. So that way if the ship ever rocked around for some reason, the areas where the funnels were wouldn't like sandwich on top of each other. They did install vertical supports in those areas, and that's fine for now. It's not like if the ship was on the ground, then we might worry about the ship having lateral issues. But it hasn't been a problem since they installed the decked over funnel areas. I don't want to get too deep into it because then I'd have to like sit here and explain this whole thing. But yes, essentially there should be no reason why the Queen Mary would like basically sag under her own weight, because all the structural support that keeps everything upright is still down in there. I mean, you can walk down there yourself and see. I say this to the people who would still argue that the structural support is gone. You can walk down in there, look at the areas where they did cut, and you'll see all they cut was just steel plates that don't hold any weight. I looked myself. I was very careful to do that because before I went to the Queen Mary, I heard all this stuff, all these horror stories. Oh, the swimming pool is collapsing and stuff like that. And it's none of it is as what it seems. It's a slightly different story than what it seems. So, and that's what my channel is dedicated to trying to cover. So there's a lot of stuff I have to get to on my channel to kind of set the record straight. Let's see. Mia says, it's 2:21 in the morning here, and I was going to call it a day, but then I started watching this instead, and now all I can think about is how much I'd like some jam toasted tea. That's funny. Cornea says, I'm drinking Twinings Irish breakfast tea, and tomorrow I'll be in Lake Havasu. Awesome. Kevin asks, how are the museums in Portland? I don't know yet. I haven't been to any of them, but my friends are supposed to visit me later this month, and I think we have plans to visit a bunch of museums, so I'll let you know later. Let's see here. Haley asks, thoughts on live-action Disney remakes? I hate them. It's like, you already made a classic. Leave it at that. People enjoy it. You know, if people don't enjoy the classic, then maybe you could try to remake it if people don't enjoy it. But they're remaking stuff that people already enjoy. And my whole opinion on that is like, leave it alone. Kenaniah Williams says, dude, you got my name right. I'm shocked. I don't know how to explain it, but more often than not, I tend to get pronunciations and spellings correctly. I don't know if it's because I've just been exposed to a lot of different ways to spell things or sound things out. I don't know, but I saw your name. I'm like, oh, Kenaniah Williams. Oh, Kevin Freeze, your last name is pronounced Freeze. That's funny because I've been pronouncing it Freeze and I don't know why. The thought has crossed my mind that your last name might be Fries, but I was like, it's probably more like Freeze. Yeah, see, I don't know what it is. Somehow I just kind of like, I'm able to just guess, I think, and then get it right. Hello, Ryan Hines, and thank you. Empire of Waterloo says, we'd like to send you a box of teas. What address should we mail it to? I don't currently have a way to receive stuff from people. I can't easily get around town. I live in an area that everything's kind of spread out, and I don't really have a car, so I can't really get to it. So, unfortunately, there's really no way to send me anything. Kenanaya asks, are you the CEO of QMI? No, there are co-presidents. There is Mary Rohrer and Mike Rohrer, and they are a married couple, but they are the co-presidents of QMI. I am just a volunteer. I'm not even on the board or anything. I'm just a volunteer, but a proud one at that. 101st Dalmatian asks, have you considered a video topic on the Mark Twain in Columbia? I understand that the Twain was also owned by Walt personally, not unlike the railroad. Yes, I do have a project in the works where I discuss the history and the operation of the rivers of America, which includes the Mark Twain Riverboat and sailing ship Columbia. But I have a lot of videos to get out before I can work on that one. The 101st Dalmatian says, also, I whipped up one of those sandwiches. You're right, easy to make and pretty darn good. Oh, you already have the ingredients? That's pretty cool. Yeah, they are really good. It's funny, I've heard of these before, and I always thought, oh, that's going to be really simple. It's going to taste like cucumbers and cream cheese. But I was so wrong. It's so good. Wonka says, having tea here as well. Jasmine green tea from Iran. Oh, wow. Thank you for doing what you do with the Queen Mary. I hope to visit it again someday. Last time I went to see it was when I was 10 in 2003. Oh, wow. Yeah, my greatest passion in life is the RMS Queen Mary. After I visited it the last time, suddenly something just clicked. It was like a light switch went on, and I just felt like suddenly so attached to the ship, like I had to help it. I can't quite describe it. It was similar to when I first truly discovered Disneyland for the first time in 2003, actually. It was 2003. I've been going to Disneyland my whole life, but in 2003, something just clicked, and I became like the biggest Disneyland nerd. I had to learn everything about it. And in 2020, after visiting the Queen Mary, the same thing happened. I had been to the Queen Mary a few times in my life, but that last time, something clicked, and I just fell in love with the ship, and I felt like I had to do something to help it, you know. I don't expect anything out of what I do for the ship. I don't expect anything. I don't expect notoriety or fame and glory. I just want to help the ship. I want to be able to go there one day, see it in beautiful condition, and film it for my channel. You know, I want it to be in such good condition that when I film it, people will be like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, I have to go there. Because half the comments I get from people sometimes is, oh, what a dumpy place. And it's like, it didn't always look like that. It used to look so nice. Titanic Films by Mark says, good to meet you, Alex. Fellow Southern Californian here. Your Queen Mary films are awesome. We need to save her. Yes, thank you so much. I plan to continue making more history of the Queen Mary, going all the way, not even just her service career, but also her time in Long Beach. There's been lots of things happening as the Queen Mary's been in Long Beach for 54 years. So there's a lot of cool stuff to cover, but there's a lot of videos to make. Eric Ramirez says, why do you do this to me? I'm working and I just want to hang out with you all, but I can't. You're working. Get off your phone, Eric. Coronia Park says, in Lake Havasu, I will be having dinner on a stern-wheeler steamship called Dixie Belle. Awesome. Mr. Rex says, I would like to visit the ship for the first time. Oh, it's so amazing. The Queen Mary is so cool to visit. Casey Wagner says, Alex, I wonder if with the modern technology, if somehow the Titanic's bow section could be carefully raised without damaging her. I'm sure there is a way to do it. The problem is that a lot of people are actually very much against raising the Titanic. Now, I'm not one of those people, but I will give the opposite argument for people who want to know. The going argument is, it's a graveyard, don't bother it. People died there, let them rest in peace, which I understand but don't agree with. Let me ask you this. Let's say a bus crashed on the street, right? And a piece of its side view mirror came off and landed in the bushes nearby. The bus that crashed killed all of its passengers. Very sad, very tragic, makes it all over the news and everything, right? And those people who died, all their things and everything was just left behind. Right? But you want to clean up the mess and get it out of there and try to understand what happened. If you leave everything there, nothing ever gets understood about what happened or who was on there. After all the people who died on there, maybe you don't get to understand anything that is important to who they were. You know, all there is whatever is left in newspaper articles or something, especially stuff online. But what if there are things there that maybe the family should have, or maybe things that would help give a clue as to what kind of person they were? For instance, Anne Frank. If it wasn't for her diary being published by her father, there would literally be almost no information on who she was. There might be a list somewhere that says that she was killed, or murdered, I should say. There might be a list somewhere that says that she was murdered, but aside from that, we wouldn't know much about her. But thanks to her diary being published, we know so much. We can understand and appreciate her as a person. The Anne Frank thing is a better analogy, actually, than the school bus thing. But yes, so because of that, we understand her and we can humanize her. We can understand her not as just a victim, but as a person who had ambitions and goals in life. With the Titanic, there are artifacts down there that could give us a clue as to who these people were and really remind the public that these aren't just people who died. They were human beings who had lives of their own, who had messages for their loved ones, who had stories to tell. Now, those people are long gone. It's not a graveyard in that sense, because just like the school bus analogy, it's cleaned up. Only instead of, cops and detectives and things cleaning up the crash, in this case, the ocean cleaned up all evidence there was of organic life in that sense. It's all gone. The ocean got rid of it. There's no bones or anything left. There's nothing there to leave buried. I think that raising pieces of the Titanic, salvaging things that we can learn from and better tell the story to even more people is a good idea. That being said, there are collectors out there who are just pillaging the site. That I don't agree with. There should be, if there can, be more stringent, laws and things protecting that, and people who can try to keep the place secure. But otherwise, I think that it's okay to bring some of those things up, because I think it will help teach people that this wasn't just some random people that died on some ship that hit an iceberg. It was an important time in world history. And we can humanize those people by showing more of their things, And to cap off my little rant, if I were to have died on the Titanic, I think one of the things I fear is dying and nobody knowing who I was. And so therefore, if I had died on the Titanic, I think I would have wanted my own stuff being brought up to the surface. So at least people can remember me in some way. Maybe not just as a victim, but as, again, as a person who had their own ambitions and goals and passions in life. And that's why I think we should bring up stuff from the Titanic. Again, if there were still bodies down there, I would say, okay, no, that's a grave site, leave it alone. But there's no organic matter left. All the ocean has removed it after all these years. Haley says, what's your favorite movie of all time? That's really hard to say because I like so many movies so much. Maybe one that I watch very often. What movie do I watch very often? I don't think there's one that I watch more often than the rest, to be honest. I do have favorite movies, though, but just not one. Like, I like Alien, 1979. I like Jurassic Park. Okay, you know what? Jurassic Park would be it. Jurassic Park I watch probably way more often than other movies. So the original 1993 Jurassic Park, I would have to say that's my favorite one. I don't like the Jurassic World movies. Yeah, I don't. Not at all. But I do like the original Jurassic Park. Wolf Gaming says, what's your favorite room on the Queen Mary? Favorite room? Probably the first class main lounge. Although I would have really liked to see the second class overflow lounge from 1936. The second class overflow lounge from 1936 looks like a really comfy place to sit. Kraken Teeth Gaming says, is there a way you can hook yourself up to a mic? No, because you see my computer is 10 feet away, and I'm doing this live stream from my computer. The reason why is because when I do it from my phone, it only live streams in 720. I'm able to live stream in 1080 with my computer. So I actually have this really long extension cord that allows my webcam to do this. I do want better sound, but unfortunately I don't have a way to bring a microphone this far away over here. So, Casey Wagner says, I totally agree, Alex. Well said, my friend. She sure is a grave site, and I think raising the bow section would preserve her so many people can learn about her and keep her history alive. Titanic Films says, I agree with your gravesite values with the Titanic site. So very true. Glenn Fitzgerald says, there is a hotel called the White Swan Hotel, and it has some of the staircase and the paneled walls from the Olympic Lounge, as well as the ballroom and its beautiful room. I did Titanic 100th anniversary there. Yes, I know about the Swan Hotel. I'd like to visit that sometime if there's ever a way I can. Matthew Conway says, is there any way people could access into Queen Mary's Crow's Nest? Currently, no. The Crow's Nest is not a safe place to be. The Crow's Nest itself is very corroded, and if anyone stands in there, the floors just might, your foot might go through the floor, essentially. The mast itself is not in the best condition, but it's not in danger of collapsing or anything. It really could use some rust abatement and some restoration. Anne says, hi Alex, forgive me if this question has already been asked in the recent past, but Where did you find the chocolate digestive biscuits? On Amazon. I I just looked on Amazon and typed up chocolate covered digestive biscuits, and that's how I found them. Cornea Polk says, did you see my previous comment? Let me see. About Lake Havasu and having dinner on the stern wheel steamship? Yeah. I even read it out. Mr. Rex says, climb it illegally. No. Don't anybody go up there. I know some of you will try to sneak onto the ship and try to climb up there. Please don't. We're trying to restore the ship. It doesn't help if people are climbing on top of things and breaking them. There's this one YouTube channel where these kids claim to love the Queen Mary, but then they climbed up to like the top of one of the funnels, and then they put one of their channel stickers up there. And I'm like, what the heck are you guys doing? You know, like, that's not showing love for the Queen Mary. That's showing vandalism. But anyway, please don't climb up to the crow's nest, because there is a chance that, you know, if you try to get inside, your foot could go through the floor. That would just make it harder to restore the thing, and it just keep losing more history that way. So it's best to let professionals be the only ones to go up there. Haley says, Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies, too. Titanic Films on Mark says, where did you buy these biscuits that you are consuming? I told you, on Amazon. Mr. Rex says, don't worry, I wouldn't risk the safety of myself for the ship. Yeah, but other people would. Chris with a K says, you should sneak into the first class lounge again. I never snuck in there before. If I did, I'd brag about it. Honestly, I'm telling the truth, people. If I had snuck into any areas of the Queen Mary, I'd be bragging about it. But I didn't, unfortunately. I should have. Corona Polk says, tell me more about the funnel sticker incident. There is this YouTube channel where these kids are ghost hunters or something like that. And in one of their videos from like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that, they went to the Queen Mary and they're wandering around the ship at night. And one of them was like, oh, let's see if we can get to the top of this funnel. So they climb up the center funnel. And there's a platform up there where the third whistle should be. But it's on loan on the Queen Mary too, so there's no whistle up there, it's just a platform. And they got to the top of the platform, and to leave a memento of their time there, they put one of their channel stickers on the funnel. Yeah. There's really no more to tell about that. Casey Wagner says, oh yeah, Sam and Colby were the ones that climbed her funnel. They should have stayed off the funnel for sure. Yep, that's them. And then there was another one. He was some guy that got canceled. I forget his name. But he was a super famous YouTuber who got canceled like 2 years back for saying like racist things or something like that in previous videos. But he had been to the Queen Mary. He went to the what's it called? The isolation ward, which is down on B deck at the stern of the ship. And back there they have replicas of the bunks that the female nurses would sleep on. In my tour video, I showed the bunk. And you can see in the video, the bunk is like cracked in half. And this famous YouTuber was the guy that broke it. Because in the video, he was going to do like ghost hunting. So he decided he was going to lay down on the bunk and try to like listen for ghosts or something like that. What he didn't know is the bunk is not an original, it's a replica made of like cheap wood. But he goes up there, lays down on it, snaps it in half, and it's been broken like that ever since. It's just like... Is it Shane Dawson? Is that the person? Yeah. Yeah, they were the one that broke the bed. So, yeah, so I just try to encourage people, like, you know, treat the ship with a little bit of respect, you know. It is even if you don't care for the ship, it is a historical vessel, you know, and there's not very much ships like it out there. Ah! Oh my gosh. My biscuit broke. There's no fuzz on it, is there? It's still good. 5-second roll. I agree, Casey. People need to show the ship some respect. It's really sad because a lot of people use the ship, not just YouTubers, but just people in general, organizations and such. They use the ship like... The thing I like to say is a lot of people have their hands in Queen Mary's pockets. They're always reaching down in there, getting things that they want from the ship, and taking it without giving anything back. There's a lot of entertainers, organizations, things like that in some way, shape, or form use the ship without giving anything back. It's, you know, there are people who use the ship for entertainment purposes, whether they're YouTubers or whatever. They do their entertainment, but they don't give anything back, at least saying something like, oh, you know, the ship needs some assistance or something, you know, it needs restoration, getting some kind of word out. Instead, they just have their fun and they leave. I wanted to be the kind of YouTuber who, well, I mean, first of all, I didn't want to be the kind of person who just went there and made some videos and then left. I wanted to be someone who tried to help the ship. So what I do is, like, everybody has their own things that they know how to do, right? And what I can contribute is videos. So that's what I do. I contribute to the ship by trying to make videos that educate people about the ship and what kind of help it needs and how to give it help. So that's what I do. That's my way of contributing so far. But there are just people out there that take and take and take, and they don't care. You know, really sad. Yeah, it's unfortunate. You can't, you know, teach people to... You can't teach people to behave, to be honest. Alright. Looks like some information has been released on how people can acquire a lifeboat on the Queen Mary. So what I will do is I might read a few more comments, and then I'm going to end the live stream because I have to get back to work on the video I was going to publish today about how people can acquire one of the lifeboats for the Queen Mary. And it will teach people a little bit of history about the lifeboats. So even if you're not interested in getting a lifeboat, it's still a fun video that you can watch for at least the first half of the video. So I'm going to work on that now. And then afterwards, I'm going out to dinner with my sister and her husband. So I'll be busy for the rest of the evening. But yeah, so let's see. What day is it today? Thursday? So I want to do the next tea time on Sunday. So Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's my goal. And it'll be just like this and stuff like that. Trying to think of anything else. I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll buy a lapel mic that I can put, and then a really long extension cord that I can plug into the computer or something. I had a lapel mic, but it broke. It's ridiculous. It lasted a week, and it was really expensive, and it broke, and I couldn't return it. So, ridiculous. But that was a long time ago. Anyway, Cornea says, Alex, I hope that you be an uncle. What? Chris with the case is contemplating if I want to buy a lifeboat myself. If you can, Chris, you should. You should. Haley says, what was your favorite memory of Disneyland growing up? Well, to be honest, all my favorite memories of Disneyland were when I was a teenager. Actually, I don't even think it was even that. I don't think I have a favorite memory of Disneyland. And the reason why is because, I guess the only favorite memory of Disneyland I have would have to be after I became Alex the Historian on YouTube. Because that's when I got to really enjoy the park myself. When I was a kid and even a teenager with my friends there, I never truly enjoyed my visits to Disneyland. Only because oftentimes I went there and either had to do things I didn't want to do, or maybe I was with people I didn't want to be with or something. I would say when I was a kid, I went to Disneyland with my dad a lot. But back then, I was afraid of Disneyland. Believe it or not, as a little kid, I was afraid of Disneyland. And he can even vouch for that too. I hated it there. As soon as we got in, I was like, when can we leave? And my dad was like, I spent a lot of money on this. I didn't like it. So I can't say my favorite memory was with my dad necessarily. But I do have a memory of being like 4 years old, maybe like 3.5 or something like that. And being in Toontown and meeting Mickey Mouse and Pluto and stuff with my dad there. And I have a picture of it too somewhere. I think it's in my cabinet somewhere. Of me meeting Pluto. But that day was really cool because I got to meet Mickey Mouse and stuff. So maybe that was my favorite childhood memory. Okay. Casey Wagner says, thank you, Alex. I respect and love the Queen Mary as much as you do, and I'm excited to know more on her lifeboats. Oh, there's so much information. I couldn't even put it all in this video. I'm going to have to create a separate history video that really details the lifeboats. But Titanic Films by Mark says, aren't they 12,000 pound lifeboats or more? Well, they are, so some of them are close to 12,000 pounds because some of them still have their original interior fittings and stuff on them, but maybe have lost the wooden seats and stuff, which might make them weigh a little bit less than 12,000. And some of them are completely gutted, so they're probably more like 6,000, or probably closer to 8, honestly. But anyway, yeah. So, but they were originally designed to be 12,000 pounds. Aaron Estrada says, hey gang, I'm late. Sorry, Aaron, I'm already going to be leaving the chat now because I have to get back to work on a Queen Mary video. So expect that video closer to 6 p.m. Pacific time. So that's in about an hour. Hopefully I can get it all done before then and publish it and get all the information people need. So Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and I will finish this on my own. I'll see you all Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Bye-bye.